Hi, I'm Ben Ladouceur. I'm the author of the novel I Remember Lights, and I'm super excited to be here in the Book Hug archives. So I guess my job now is to look at a handful of books, talk a little bit about them, and talk about how much I love them. Let's start with A More Perfect Left Bracket by Jimmy McInnes. I think of this book when I think of my own first poetry book, actually, because Jimmy and I read together at the Pivot reading series when our books came out in like the same season, and we read together. And I remember Jimmy's reading very well because he like yelled and screamed during it, and that was kind of an appropriate way to talk about such a weird book. So this book is like, he took a Barack Obama campaign speech and kind of chopped it up and like remixed it and threw in definitions, and he just breaks it up like several times over the course of the book. It's a very strange book, but it's also very moving at times. It's like when you completely remove the actual context of the speech and you're just left with kind of the skeleton of it, some of that can hit different. And I remember that there's a whole section of this book that just breaks down every word type of the entire speech, I believe. So it reads like plural pronoun, indefinite article, noun, adverb, pronoun. And I remember when I lived in Toronto, I taught ESL, and I tried to bring this book into class and like make a little like lesson out of it. And it went really poorly, and I just wasted everyone's time that day. But it was still kind of fun to bring it into class and to try. So yeah, Jimmy McInnes, A More Perfect Left Bracket, great book. This is Paul's by Jess Taylor, this is another book that came out when I was living in Toronto. And I knew Jess, and I know Jess, and I was a big fan of this book because it was a short story collection that kind of, the stories kind of have a relationship. I think some of the characters recur or intertwine, and there's a whole bunch of people named Paul. There's male Pauls and female Pauls or Paulines. And this was just a really fantastic, it was kind of one of the first books of fiction that I read by someone that I knew. And so that probably made it more resonant. But I think on its own terms, this book and also her other book, Just Purrs, her other short story collection, Just Purrs, just really hold up. And yeah, I remember this book ends with a really long story that I've revisited. And it's just really, really great. So, and now she has a novel, which I've yet to read, but I look forward to reading, so. Jess Taylor. Participation by Anna Moschovakis, which I really hope I'm pronouncing correctly. This is ostensibly a novel, but this is another really weird book. I think I bought this from Book Hug at the Small Press Book Fair in Ottawa. Not knowing much about the novel, but Anna Moschovakis also wrote a poetry book called You and Three Others Are Approaching a Lake, which I remember buying just because of the title. You and Three Others Are Approaching a Lake. What a crazy good title. And that poetry book is really great. And so when I saw that a novel was written by the same author, I picked it up. This novel is very like disobedient for the form of novel. Like it goes all over the place. I think sometimes the size of words changes. There's a lot of white space. But I remember having a lot of fun reading it, and I think I read it in like a weekend. Because it was just weirdly riveting. It wasn't like the plot was what's propelling you in it so much as just like the kind of unexpectedness of whatever's on the next page. So this is a great book. Anecdotes by Kathryn Mockler. This is another book where everything's unexpected. I received this book actually because I think I was introducing Kathryn at an Ottawa reading that she was going to do. So Book Hug sent me this book ahead of time. And I remember I was busy and I didn't have enough time to read the whole thing, so I sated myself just by reading the first line, which is what you do when you get a new book and you don't have time to read it right now. And the first line of this book is, "The boy is dead, and we will spend the rest of the story trying to find out why and what happened and how it affected the people in the boy's life." And that goes on to be like a 5 or 6 page story. And that's such a, I remember reading that and putting the book down out of necessity, but then thinking where could that story possibly go from there? That's the entire story. How does she make a short story out of that? And where does the book go from there? And the answer is that the book just twists like that at the very start are actually on like every single page of this book, where you just don't know what's going to happen next. And it made it a very thrilling read. But also, even though it had that kind of structure to it, like some of these stories are only 3 lines long, but it always still has that kind of like emotional core. It's not just like pure experiment. Like you can actually feel a lot when you're reading this book. And look, it has like black pages all of a sudden. The last section is this weird allegory about the future and the past, who are like characters. Again, maybe a theme developing here is that a lot of weird books, but really good book too. Okay, so this is the new Olga Ravn, which I'm very excited to check out. I definitely haven't checked it out yet, and I love the employees, and I loved my work. And my work is a book. She wrote it. As far as I understand, it seems pretty autobiographical as a book, and she wrote it right after having a child, and it's a lot about kind of the emotions that she went through having a child. I lent it to a friend who really trusts me to give book recommendations, and I was like, here you go, you're gonna love this. And she took it on vacation, and I don't know if it was like the beach read that she was hoping for, and I learned that it's actually my work is a pretty dark book to recommend to friends, and it really goes places. But brilliantly written, and I'm super excited to read this. I don't know much about it, but I can't wait to find out what it's all about. And another one that is new that I haven't opened or anything yet, but that I'm super excited to check out is Michael V. Smith. Michael is a poet and a performer and a comedian and a drag star, and he just knows how to do everything. He's one of those. And whatever this book is, I don't even know. I mean, it appears to be poetry, but I'm sure that it kind of goes all over the place in terms of genre. I always trust Michael. Whatever he's doing, he does it well. Yeah, so I can't wait to check this one out. So I think that my bag is pretty full, and I should probably cut it out before I am removed from the building. So thank you so much to Book Hug, and thank you for watching. And by the way, I wrote this book, which I won't put in my bag because I have copies of it. But it's called I Remember Lights. It's a novel. It's about Expo 67. It's also about a raid that happened in 1977 in Montreal at a bar called Trucks, and it recounts those events. And it's been out for a little while, and if you haven't checked it out, then please do. Okay, thanks.